Welcome to Wayne's World, where we talk about anything and everything except politics. We may talk about our health or personal issues, what we are facing in life, along with music, videos, and art. If you have any questions, we will try to answer them as well. We may talk about wrestling from the past or from today and the difference between the two. We will tell stories from the road in the wrestling business. We may even tell jokes and do comedy too. You just never know what we will discuss or what the topic may be. You can catch Wayne's World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be sure to subscribe and like. Now, here is your host, Greg Wayne. Welcome to Wayne's World, where we talk about.
Hit the wrong button. Okay, guys. Got to redo my opening because I have moved to Thursday nights instead of Wednesday nights. Anyway, everybody out there say hello to me, and I'll say hello back to you. Tonight we are going to be talking about Joe LeDuc. Got home this afternoon. Haven't really had a whole lot of time. Hey, Gregory and Al. Good to see both of you. And there's one more person out there. Don't know who's watching. However, like I said, got home this afternoon and started working on my graphics, and I'm learning all kind of things. Anyway, didn't shave. I look a little rough. Haven't taken a bath yet. Like I said, as soon as I got home, I started coming in here, started working on all this and getting my pictures and video. Got a really good montage of Joe LeDuc. Found a montage of videos that somebody put together. Wish I could remember who so I could give him credit, but unfortunately I cannot. I should have wrote it down. Hope everybody out there is doing good this evening, and thank you for joining. Got the news yesterday morning, and it blew up my Facebook. It blew up my news break and a whole bunch of different things. But I'm going to show that graphic right now. This is one of the graphics I worked on this afternoon. I also downloaded a whole bunch of stuff. Got a whole list of things here. Um, the Iron Sheik passed away. He passed away yesterday, and let me change my graphic on here where you can see everything on the screen, and change this graphic and take this off just for a second. And it was the Iron Sheik passed away. He was, let me get my piece of paper here so I don't tell anything wrong. He was 81 years old, I believe. Let me find it. Almost positive it was 81. I'm pretty sure it was 81. But anyway, he passed away, and his real name, and if PJ is out there watching, she will understand when I don't pronunciate this correctly. His real name was Hussein Khosrow Ali Vaziri. Anyway, we are going to be doing a special on him next week, and it is going to be on the Iron Sheik and be covering his life and everything that he did when he got into the business and how he got started in the whole 9 yards. Anyway, we're going to be doing all kind of things tonight. Mainly talking about Joe LeDuc. I've got a whole series of pictures. Also made another graphic. Did not like the graphic that somebody had online, which I copied. So I made my own graphic, and I think it looks a little better than his. His is more like a personal thing, sort of like family, I guess. And this is the graphic for Joe on in memory, which is not a bad graphic. I like it, but the candle and stuff just sort of makes it like family. Um, so that was his. Now let me turn around and get back on mine and find my graphic. Here's the one I made that I was working on this afternoon, and this is my graphic. So there we are. And that's that. And let me go ahead and cut him back off, and it brings me back, which is great. Now I'm gonna put my chat overlay and all my stuff, graphics and all that stuff back on here. There's my logo. Okay. Now, As you type in, I did change something up on my program. Um, as you chat or do anything, it'll show up on the side of the screen, which makes it easier for me to see. That way I can still access all my graphics and everything. Um, Joe LeDuc, I've got footage of him and Jerry Lawler match they had. There were several ones that I was looking for. One was him pulling a bus. I remember that. Also, one with him holding back a car with his back up against a concrete wall. Also, the one where he was incredibly strong, unbelievably, um, where he was trying to. There's 10 guys, five on each side, trying to break the bear hug hold. And anyway, long story short, I found that and a whole bunch of other stuff, plus the blood oath, plus him throwing Lawler over the top rope and broke Lawler's leg, or fractured it, or I'm not real sure. But anyway, I've got that montage video. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long. Um, Instead of me adding a bunch of different videos and doing one or two here and then coming back and one or two here and then going back and forth, the montage video that I've got covers all of it. So it is unbelievably how strong the man was. I'd said last week that when I said something about Joe LeDuc and him being a Canadian lumberjack, that is 100% not true. He was not a lumberjack. That was just a gimmick. I learned some things when I read all this. Some things that I didn't know. When Joe was in Memphis, I was actually scared of him the first time I met him. He was very scary to say the least. And the Iron Sheik was the same way. Matter of fact, he laughed. He thought it was funny. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into this. And I've got several pictures that I'm going to show of Joe LeDuc. Let me get all the way back up here to the top. And this is the first picture I'm going to show is him and um, Paul LeDuc, which was the gimmick that they used. And this was up in Calgary, I believe. But anyway, I'm going to show that picture. And I guess everybody can still hear me because I still see my little green thing going. So I'm going to go with this and just start reading and go from there. Okay. Joe LeDuc's real name was Michael Pigeon. He was born August 31st, 1944. He passed away May 1st, 1999. He was a Canadian professional wrestler, better known by his ring name, Joe LeDuc. Wrestling with a lumberjack gimmick, he debuted in Stampede Wrestling, and his kayfabe brother Paul LeDuc, the pair later won several titles in Montreal, where they feuded with the Rougeau wrestling family, and Florida, where they held the NWA Florida Tag Team Championship. After an injury ended Paul's career, LeDuc competed as a singles wrestler. He was involved in a heated feud with Dusty Rhodes. LeDuc then moved to Tennessee, where he had a rivalry with Jerry Lawler over the NWA Mid America Southern Tag Team Championship, notably legitimately breaking Lawler's leg when he threw him over the top rope onto the announcer's table. Now I'm going to change my picture and put this one up. This, well, wrong one. That one. There we go. That was his tag team partner, Paul. Um, LeDuc spent many years traveling between Florida and Tennessee, and he won belts in both locations as a singles wrestler and as a tag team competitor. He also spent time on the wrestling tours of Japan and New Zealand. One of LeDuc's biggest storylines was with manager Oliver Humperdinck, whom LeDuc accused of stealing his money. This led to a feud during which LeDuc won the NWA Television Championship from one of Humperdinck's wrestlers. LeDuc continued to split his time between singles and tag team wrestling, and he resumed his feud with Lawler in Tennessee. In his later career, LeDuc competed in Puerto Rico and had a brief stint in the World Wrestling Federation. Altogether, LeDuc held 32 championships, 15 single belts, and 17 tag team titles. He died of a lung infection on May 1st, 1999. Here's a picture of young Joe LeDuc. Excuse me. In his earlier career from 1968 to 73, prior to entering professional wrestling, Pigeon gained combat sport experience by studying judo. He worked for the Quebec, and I ain't real sure how to pronunciate this, provincial provincial police until the mid 1960s when he decided to become a wrestler. His friend Paul LeDuc had competed as a professional wrestler in Mexico and wanted a tag team partner. He convinced Pigeon to train as a wrestler, and Pigeon trained under Stu Hart in Calgary, Alberta. Now, if for those of you that don't know who Stu Hart is, he is the one that owned Stampede Wrestling. He is the father of Bret and Owen Hart. There's a few other Harts. His daughter, who also wrestles, Natty, and I think there's another brother too. And I think no, there is another sister. I can't remember her name, but anyway, Stu had several children. So anyway, that's the man that Joe had wrestled for. Anyway, along with Paul, Pigeon began wrestling in Hart Stampede Wrestling in 1968 under the ring name Jos LeDuc, Paul's tag team partner and kayfabe brother. The LeDuc's gimmick was inspired by Yukon Eric Holmback, a professional wrestler who had died 3 years earlier. They portrayed the stereotypical Canadian lumberjacks and wore flannel shirts to the ring. They received a push from the promoters and won the Stampede International Tag Team Championships in 1969. Yes, Al, he was uh, in the WWF, and I've got several pictures, but I didn't put them up because YouTube has a thing about copyright infringement, and they see crap like that, so they block the video and all that. So I try to stay away from it if I can. And never knew he's a student. Yes, PJ, he was. Everybody has to learn somewhere. Okay, getting back to what I was saying. 69. But they lost the belts later that year. They moved to Toronto's Maple Leaf Wrestling, Ohio, and Texas. Joe himself continued as a singles competitor in Toronto, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and Japan Wrestling Association. After moving to the Montreal area, the LeDucs debuted in the International Wrestling Association, that was the IWA, with a scripted attack on local wrestler Johnny Rougeau. This led to a feud between the LeDucs and the Rougeaus, Johnny and his real-life brother, Jacques. Joe LeDuc was booked to win the Montreal version of the International Heavyweight Championship by defeating Johnny Rougeau in 1971. The Bookers also decided to give him a run with the International Tag Team Championships that year, which LeDuc won while teaming with Tony Ballard. This name's hard to pronunciate. Ballargian. While in Montreal, the LeDucs also competed for the Grand Prix Wrestling and were booked in a feud with the Vachon brothers, Mad Dog and Butcher, as well as Killer Kowalski. The LeDucs had two reigns at the Grand Prix Wrestling Tag Team Championships in 1972 and 73. Now I'm going to find another picture and change this one as well. I'm going to do this one because I like this picture. It's a good picture. All right. Now, there's the other one. I like that picture. Look on Joe's face is absolutely amazing. Okay. I forgot where I was at. Okay. And that was 73. Okay. Southern United States from 73 to 1980. LeDuc's next stop was in Championship Wrestling from Florida, the CWF, where he resumed teaming with Paul LeDuc. Wrestling under the name the Canadian Lumberjacks, they were soon pushed to win the NWA Florida Tag Team Championships in December of 1973 by defeating Dusty Rhodes and Dick Slater. They defended the belts for 2 months before dropping them to Slater and his new partner, Stan Vachon, a kayfabe brother of the Vachons from Montreal. This was the final time the LeDucs held a title together, as Paul LeDuc sustained a legitimate injury that forced Joe to wrestle without him. Joe LeDuc also wrestled as a singles competitor in Florida. He was booked to win the NWA Florida Southern Heavyweight Championship by defeating Rhodes in late 1973. He dropped the title to Rhodes in January of 74. However, LeDuc and Rhodes were placed in a heated feud at the time, and they frequently faced each other in death matches. That's pretty interesting. Never knew that. LeDuc made his AWA television debut on August 2nd, 1975. Defeating Angel Riviera, LeDuc was given wins over Buddy Wolf and Boris. No, that's another one of them hard names. Breznikov, which was also Nikolai Volkov, before forming the team with Larry Henning. There we go with that name again. I covered him, I think, last week. Larry Henning. LeDuc and Henning first teamed on September 12th, 1975, in Denver, Colorado, losing to Jimmy and Johnny Valiant. LeDuc and Henning feuded with the Valiant brothers for several months before entering a feud with Baron von Raschke and Mad Dog Vachon. Joe and Larry also received a few title shots against the AWA tag champs Blackjack Lanza and Bobby Duncombe in August of 96 or of 76. Probably his most memorable accomplishment while working for the promotion was a bus pulling stunt filmed in Minneapolis that was also used as in promo videos while appearing in the Memphis and Atlanta territories, among others. LeDuc departed the AWA in September of 1976. Now, I do have that footage of him pulling the bus. That's in the montage video on my show after I get done reading all this. Now we get on into Tennessee, which is my part of town. Yeah, buddy. This is all live, guys. None of this is taped. Let me go ahead and switch pictures again. I've got a whole ton of them. There's that one, and I'm going to take that off and leave that just like that. So that works. Okay. Wrestling in Tennessee in 1977, LeDuc teamed with Bob Armstrong to win the NWA Southeast Tag Team Championship in September. They were put over Bob Orton Jr. and Mr. Knoxville for the belts, but lost them in a rematch. While in Tennessee, LeDuc gained notoriety from a worked feud with Jerry Lawler. Wrestling as a heel, he faced Jerry Lawler, who was a favorite in the state in many matches throughout the year. LeDuc was placed with a new partner, Jean Louis, to win the NWA Mid-America Tag Team Championships in May. They faced Lawler and Jimmy Valiant on May 22nd to defend the belts, but the match was declared a no contest and the title was vacated. Lawler and Valiant won the belts in a rematch the following week, but LeDuc and Louis regained them the following month in September. LeDuc and Louis dropped the belts once again, this time to Lawler and the Mongolian Stomper. I remember most of these matches. LeDuc returned to Florida in 1978 and was given a title reign as the NWA Florida Heavyweight Champion after defeating Mr. Uganda on December 18th. He held the belt for 2 weeks before dropping it to his kayfabe rival Dick Slater, who was soon a champion again. However, as he and the Thor the Viking were booked to win the NWA Florida United States Tag Team Championships in early 1979, they dropped the belts to Killer Carl Cox and Jimmy Garvin. But LeDuc soon regained the title by teaming with Pac Song. Those that don't know who that is, it's Paksong. I suggest you look it up. It's absolute favorite of Jimmy Hart's. LeDuc and Song vacated the title shortly after winning it, but LeDuc teamed with yet another partner, Don Morocco, to win the belts back later that year. During this stint in Florida, LeDuc made a scripted turn from face to heel. Garvin claimed that LeDuc was aligning with heel manager Sonny King. He was also in Memphis, but LeDuc denied the claim. Garvin then showed video footage to prove that LeDuc had secret dealings with King. LeDuc responded by attacking Garvin in front of the crowd, solidifying a heel turn for LeDuc. In a storyline several months later, LeDuc and King Curtis Ayuk, I can't, that's hard, it's hard. I ain't sure if it's Ayuka. I think I'm going to just say that because I don't know how to pronunciate it. They attacked Buddy Rogers, a veteran then working as a face. The injuries Rogers received were said to be so severe that he was forced to retire, although in reality, Rogers had simply moved to another wrestling promotion. Later that year, LeDuc wrestled in Japan during a brief tour. He was successful during several matches on the tour, but his wrestling style was noticeably different from the traditional Japanese style. In the Japanese media, he was referred to as the mechanical, I would say maniac, and demented, but it says mechanical. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. LeDuc had more success in Southeast Championship Wrestling after returning to the Tennessee area. He was pushed to win the first NWA Southeast Heavyweight Championship in a victory over Killer Carl Cox in March of 1980, before losing his belt back to Cox in a rematch. In October, he regained the Southern Tag Team Championships while teaming with Robert Fuller. They lost the belts to Super Pro and Ron Bass, but LeDuc teamed with Armstrong again to regain the belts. Boy, this is rather lengthy. LeDuc traveled to New Zealand to wrestle in 1981. While there, he was booked in two title reigns. On April 23rd, he won the NWA New Zealand British Commonwealth Championship by defeating Steve Rickard. He dropped the belt to Mark Lewin 1 week later, but regained it in a rematch on July 9th. His second and final reign came to an end when he lost the belt to Rickard in mid-August. Now I'm going to change pictures again, and we're going to go with this one. That's the one I like. It's a good picture. Later that year, LeDuc returned to Southeast Championship Wrestling and was given two more tag team title reigns while teaming with Fuller. Ultimately, however, the team split up and vacated the title. LeDuc was then booked in singles competition, winning the Southeastern Heavyweight Championship twice more with victories over Jacques Rougeau Jr. and Terry Gordy. He was also put over Terry Gordy to win the NWA Alabama Heavyweight Championship in May of 1982, but LeDuc dropped the title that summer to Austin Idol. In the early 1980s, LeDuc wrestled in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, where the bookers had him join Oliver Humperdinck's House of Humperdinck stable. Under Humperdinck's management, LeDuc was booked to win the NWA Television Championship by defeating Jimmy Valiant in '82. The title reign did not last long, however, as the belt was soon taken away because of an angle that saw LeDuc cheat in the title defense against Johnny Weaver. Eventually, the storyline had LeDuc claim that Humperdinck had stolen his money, and LeDuc left the stable. This led to a work feud between LeDuc and the member of Humperdinck's stable. Although the main rivalry that was portrayed was between LeDuc and Dick Slater, as part of the feud, LeDuc and Slater faced each other on April 30th, 1983 in a lumberjack match. At this time, LeDuc received a push and won the match in Slater's NWA Television Championship. LeDuc then returned to Florida, where he was kept mainly in the singles division. In October 1983, he put over Scott McGee to win the NWA Florida Heavyweight Championship for a second time. He dropped the belt to Barry Windham the following month. In a rematch with Windham, the following night, LeDuc won the belt once again. His final reign as Florida Heavyweight Champion was short-lived, however, as the bookers had him drop the belt in a rematch with Windham the next night. Another short stint in Southeastern Championship Wrestling followed, with LeDuc being given two more reigns with the Southeastern Heavyweight title. He was put over his former partner, Bob Armstrong, for the belt in August of '83 and began a feud with Robert Fuller, another former partner. During the course of this feud, the belt changed hands twice. Fuller was booked to win the belt from LeDuc, but LeDuc won a subsequent match to the win of the title for the sixth and final reign. LeDuc held the belt until vacating the title when he left the promotion. All right, now we're going to change the picture again, and we're going to go to this one. I like that one too. It's a good one right there with the belt. On March 12th, 1984, LeDuc teamed with former kayfabe rival Jerry Lawler to win the AWA Southern Tag Team Championship from Elijah Akeem and Kareem Muhammad. Hey, I got those names right, PJ. In a six-man match the following week, LeDuc teamed with Lawler and Jimmy Hart, who was their manager but wrestled on occasion. During the match, LeDuc revealed that his reconciliation with Lawler was a setup, as LeDuc and Hart turned on Lawler by walking away to leave Lawler by himself. As a result, the tag team title was vacated and the feud was rekindled. LeDuc returned to Montreal for the first time since 1973, since time he was working for LUT International, promoted by Gino Brito. He feuded with Abdullah the Butcher, Sailor White, Haku, and the Masked Superstar. On November 15th, 1985, he lost to WWF Intercontinental Champion Tito Santana at WWF Lutte Internationale house show. In 85 and 86, he was in Puerto Rico. While wrestling in Puerto Rico, LeDuc was booked in his final championship reign. He defeated Hercules Ayala on January 6, 1986, to win the World Wrestling Council North American Heavyweight Championship. He held the belt for just over 2 months before dropping it to Al Perez on March 7th. LeDuc returned to the States. Let me go ahead and change so many more pictures I got. Let me go ahead and change pictures. Put this one up. There we go. I like that one too. It's a good one. Returned to the States in 1986, LeDuc returned to the States in early 86. After spending time in Puerto Rico and Montreal, he worked for Continental Wrestling Association in Tennessee, where he feuded with Paul Diamond. Also worked for World Class Championship Wrestling in Texas, where he occasionally teamed with Rick Rude. He would quietly leave wrestling and not wrestle at all in 1987. World Wrestling Federation, 1988. LeDuc returned to wrestling after a year's absence. He made his first appearance for the World Wrestling Federation, the WWF, on March 19th, 1988, when he defeated Brady Boone in a dark match at a WWF Superstars taping. He made his first house show appearance on April 22nd, defeating Jose Luis Rivera in White Plains, New York. On May 9th, at a show in Ontario, LeDuc added Frenchie Martin as his manager. On July 4th, in a match taped on June 21st in Glen Falls, New York, LeDuc made his first television appearance as the Headbanger Butcher on WWF Primetime Wrestling. He lost to Brian Costello via disqualification after he refused to cease headbutting his preliminary opponent. On July 16th in Landover, Maryland, he sustained his first pinfall loss when he was defeated by Sam Houston. His final WWF match came a day later when he lost to Houston in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Although he did have a match against Tito Santana, which was broadcast on July 25th on Primetime Wrestling, but it was likely recorded much earlier. He suffered a pinfall loss in the encounter with Santana. And we're going to change pictures again. And we're going to like that one too, because it looks like he's crazy. All right, in 89 through 95, the following year, LeDuc returned to Japan for another brief wrestling tour for Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. He wrestled primarily in tag teams with, now here we go, PJ. Another one of them names that's hard to pronunciate. He wrestled primarily in tag teams with Masanobu Karisu. They were booked to lose each of these matches. However, LeDuc's only victory in Japan came when he was put over Tarzan Goto in a singles match. Following his stint in Japan, LeDuc retired from wrestling on June 10, 1995. He wrestled one final event, teaming with Phil Hickerson to face Lawler and Valiant at the United States Wrestling Association Memphis Memories 2 event. The match built upon the storyline feud between LeDuc and Lawler, and Lawler won the match for his team by pinning LeDuc. In November 1995, he was scheduled to wrestle for Smoky Mountain Wrestling, teaming with Buddy Landell in a series of matches against The Punisher and Tommy Rich. But due to LeDuc's retiring, the Bullet took his place, teaming with Landell. In his personal life, I'm going to change pictures again. Boom, we'll go to this one. See what anybody said. I never knew he's Stu Hart's student. Yes, he was. Never knew he's in WWF. Hey, Thomas, I was there. Me too. Joe kind of reminds me of Mad Dog Rashawn with the way they wore their beard and the bald head. I agree, 100%. In his personal life, LeDuc's first wife died in a car accident in 1981. He remarried and was married at the time of his death in 99. He had 3 children, two daughters, Nadine and Michelle, and a son, Robert. LeDuc appeared in the 1989 film No Holds Barred, which starred fellow professional wrestler Hulk Hogan. LeDuc had many problems with diabetes toward the end of his life. While visiting his son in Atlanta, Georgia, LeDuc slipped in the shower. As a result of the injuries, he developed an infection that ultimately led to his death. He died of a lung infection on May 1st, 1999 in Atlanta. After his death, the revelation that he and Paul LeDuc were not related caused a minor scandal on talk shows in Quebec. And that takes care of that. And I will show you one more picture, which is right here. And that takes care of that. And that was the last picture. This worked out really well because that's the end of what I've got. I timed all that good. I like it. Going down to my paperwork, trying to get all this back in order. I got to keep all this in order so I can file it away. Okay. And that takes care of that. So now I can get rid of this, and it should, nope, that one popped back up. Take that one off. That one pops up, and I got to find it, click it, get it off. Okay, there. Now we're back. Okay, cool. However, I still like my graphic the best. I'm going to show you. And that is, let me turn my chat off real quick. In memory of Joe LeDuc, Michael Pigeon, 8/31/44, passed away 5/1/1999. All right, that takes care of that, and should be back full screen. There we go. Now I got my chat over on the side. Hello, Al, and everybody else. Asian names always spin Americans' head around and around. Yes, my head's going round and round and around. It's hard to pronunciate. I don't know enough foreign languages to be able to pronunciate everything correctly, but I try. But anyway, that was that on that, and I've got one video left to show, and just to show you exactly how strong Joe really was. The video is a montage of him pulling a bus, holding back a car with his legs, doing the bear hug pull with 10 people, and throwing Jerry Lawler over the top. And then I've got another video, but I'm not going to play it tonight. I may do it some other time. But this is the video, guys. This is for y'all. And let me see if I can find it. And here it is. And I don't know if I'll be able to talk over this or not, but I'm going to try if I need to.
Well, I can guarantee you that there's a lot of guys who have vied for the craziest wrestler that there has ever been, and one of them certainly that has to have much attention is the Canadian Joe LeDuc. The French Canadian out of the lumberjack woods came Joe LeDuc, and this guy was known for the most bizarre incidents that anybody had ever seen involving professional wrestling. Let's take a look at a collection of some of the things that involved Joe LeDuc.
Uh-oh, LeDuc, right in, goes for the throat, and he puts Lawler down. LeDuc just swinging that right hand. LeDuc picks him up. Pile driver.
But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, Jerry Lawler. You tell everybody how crazy I am. I'm going to show you I'm not that crazy. I'm going to take a note. You know what that is? Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to cut my arm. And if I don't do what I tell you Monday night, I'll never be able to look at myself in the mirror.
Now, right here, I want to make a quick comment. When Jerry Jarrett sent him out there to do the interview, he had no idea what LeDuc was going to do. They almost lost the television and everything else right here just because of this scene right here.
As long as I live, but I'm going to do it. Now, Jerry Lawler, you hear this. Jerry Lawler, you hear this. Right now, Jerry Lawler, I'm going to mess up your face, and that's the last match I lost with you, Jerry Lawler. Look like that. All right. You see it right here. Look at it, boy.
The referee starts a count. LeDuc breaks it, throws him. Big backdrop. Puts Lawler down again. He may have it. 1, 2. A stinging right hand.
Jerry Lawler, let me tell you something.
Now, this is funny right here. My comment, I remember when I saw this on TV. The first time he hits it, it don't break. He looks at it like, you son of a bitch. And then, he really smacks the crap out of himself. This was funny to watch.
Got a maid, she can clean up. She can come and clean up all this. What do you think you are, Jerry Lawler? I hurt you once. I prove, I make a note, I swear that I hurt you and I hurt you. And now I'm coming back to finish the job because I did not finish the job good before.
Duke, look out! Louis right over the top rope.
And by God, I like that.
LeDuc is set in the ring. 5 men on each side,
Joe was
selected from the
unbelievably
audience.
strong.
A total of 10 men. The idea here is not to jerk the arms away, but a slow, steady pull to see whether the strength of 10 men
I definitely agree
is
with you.
enough
Definitely had
to
a great
pull
punch.
the giant bear hug of Joe LeDuc apart. LeDuc will attempt to hold it for about 15 to 30 seconds. Everybody is set. Eddie Marlin, promoter Herman Sheffield. They'll be counting 1, 2, 3, go, and then the pull starts. There they go. One side's pulling the other. They're pulling back. Look at LeDuc hold on against 10 men with those hands locked firmly in that bear hug grip. Joe LeDuc holding against 10 men, and that's it. He did it. He was able to withstand the strength and pull of 10 men. So the victor is going to be Joe LeDuc in the arm pulling contest.
Joe LeDuc is back. And I'm not crazy like everybody thinks.
Without a question of
Love a
doubt.
special question.
It's me again, that's right, the wonderful world of Joe LeDuc. Now, we showed you last week how Joe LeDuc could pull a 2-ton car all the way around the Coliseum. Now, maybe it impressed you, maybe it didn't impress you, but it impressed me. But we're going to show you something today that I know that's going to impress you. All right, Joe LeDuc, the world's strongest professional athlete. Are you almost ready, Joe? Yeah. Is going to put his legs up on this bumper right here and hold this car 2 tons. 2 tons from crashing into him, because you know if it does, it's going to be all over for Big Joe LeDuc. Look, baby, look at it. Come on, Joe. Hang on, baby, you're doing it. You're doing it, Joe. You're doing it, baby. You're doing it. Look at him. Look at him. Look. Hang on. Cut it. Cut the car. Push it back a little bit. Let it back. Let it back. Let it back. Let it back. Hang on. Hang on. You okay? Great, baby. 15 seconds, Joe. 15 seconds. Joe LeDuc, the world's strongest professional athlete.
I agree, PJ. Well, I'll tell you what, that right there was definitely one person I would not want to have to fight, and that is Joe LeDuc. And it is in memory of Michael Pigeon, 8/31 of 1944, and passed away 5/1 of 1999. All right, guys, that is that, and we're going to go back up to full screen on me. Da, 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 da. Yes, I have to agree, PJ, that is beyond crazy. If that car had, or if his legs had buckled, he would probably be dead. Because that's a lot of power. And Al, yes, I have to agree, he's crazier than a pet raccoon. Oh, sound like you're out in the country there, fella. Out there with me. Oh man, oh man, oh man, what a day. Anybody out there got any questions or anything I'd like to make comments on? Did you enjoy it? Whatever. If you didn't like it, so like I said, I came home working on graphics and stuff and playing with my program and learning all kind of things. Program I've been messing with off and on, Photoshop or whatever it is from Adobe. But anyway, that is pretty much it for it. I could show the stuff of Randy Hales, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to say it. Be sure you check him out Monday nights. It is Power Pro Watch Along, and it is at 7 o'clock. And on Tuesdays, it is Talking Memphis Wrestling at 7 o'clock. And then here recently, he's been doing a little show, the Randy Hales Show on Fridays. I don't know if he'll continue that or not. That's something that's pretty much sporadic with him. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Thomas and PJ. Like I said, I'm fixing to get ready to get out of here. I got to go take a bath and get ready to go to work for tomorrow. And if anybody has any questions or anything out there, you can email me at gregwayne1 at hotmail.com. You can also catch me on YouTube on Wayne's World at Greg Wayne, Facebook at Greg Wayne, quite naturally. And if you'd like to support me, it's paypal.me/Greg Wayne, 1. Anyway, guys, that is going to take care of it for me this evening. And I do appreciate everybody coming out and visiting with me and making your comments. And let me go back to my chat because I don't want to try to leave anybody out. You always pick out great pictures I've never seen, and I learned something new I didn't know. Thank you, Al. I appreciate it. I try really hard, and I try to get good quality pictures. Some of them, like I said, are not wonderful, but I find several. And same thing sort of like next week, I will be doing in memory of the Iron Sheik. I got to get a lot of footage on him. That is the graphic that I made. I found this picture and removed the background and added the words and all the stuff. And I can make it transparent, but I didn't do that. Anyway, I did try, and that is something that I worked on. But anyway, that is it for this evening, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. If you have any questions or any comments or anything, you can always make your comments, and I'll come back and take a look. If not, you can email me a question or somebody maybe you'd like to see me do it. The bio on and do the pictures and video and all that kind of thing at gregwayne1 at hotmail.com. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here and get ready to go to bed. And I thank everybody for watching. Be sure you share. Tell them to watch it on Wayne's World page. It's easier for me to see everybody's comment because I did not have the other page up over the other monitor. And if I did, Sheiky baby. Yes, that is going to be next week. Iron Sheik next Thursday, guys. Everybody have a good night, and we will see you next Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Good night, everybody.